I had a problem with the sound. I think because someone called me on my phone when I was going live. Anyone in the chat can hear me right now? Police off the cuff. It's raining. It's pouring. The old man is snoring right now. I'm not seeing anyone sign on yet, but I'm hoping that I got my sound back. We had a little problem before. Sometimes when you go live with your phone and someone calls you, good, you guys can hear me, Adam67. Thank you. We had a lot of people in the chat, and I got knocked off the air by a phone call. My fault. I did put Do Not Disturb, but I still got disturbed by a phone call. Okay, guys, can hear me now. Raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. Hi, L'Oreal, and hi, Bill from Massapequa, Michael Moore. Sound is good now. Thank you, guys. Again, as I said, when you go live on your phone and someone makes a phone call to you, sometimes it can knock you off the air, even though I did have Do Not Disturb. So an event-filled last couple of days. Just unbelievable with this case. All the things we learned about this case. Folks, if you're really a true crime aficionado, what I would recommend that you do is to print up the 32-page bail application that was put out by the Suffolk County DA's office. In fact, those were the notes, I believe, that District Attorney Tierney was referring to when he did his press conference. So that was legal-minded friends. Karen Cole, thank you very much. Good to see you. As I said, guys, I don't want to repeat this ad nauseum, but I was knocked off the air by a phone call. And I had it, I had Do Not Disturb on, but it can still happen to you for some reason. I got to find the way to block phone calls. Debbie Boyd, thank you, Debbie Boyd, for joining. Guys, I don't like to dwell on this because it's superstitious, but I was really hoping for a long time to hit 50,000, and we hit and surpassed 50,000 subscribers last night, all because of you guys. Thank you so much. This is a labor of love for me, but it is a grind and it is a lot of work, and I really appreciate you guys. And when you guys give us great feedback, you listen to the show, you become part of the Police Off the Cuff family. We really like that. Lieutenant Pete and Richella Pranzo, two of our moderators, two of our biggest supporters. Thank you so much. You guys are a big part of us reaching 50,000. Anna Pekoski, awesome. Yeah, awesome. You hear this rain, guys? I mean, I think the whole Northeast is filled with rain. Wendy Kraft, woohoo, 50K, you did it. Oh, thank you. It's not over. My actual goal, which is a little bit, I think I could still do it. My goal for 2023 is to hit 100,000. You aim high, and if you come up short, you still gave it a try, right? Dilly Pickles, thank you so much. I am not T-Pain. We love Richella and Peter Pranzo. Absolutely, we all love Richella and Pete. Jane Doe, Lottie 160, hit the like. Yes. Guys, you hear this rain? This rain is no joke. Thank God I have this cupola, lanai, whatever you want to call it, but it's keeping me dry right now. And so yeah, unbelievable. So folks, love the sound of the rain. Yeah, raindrops keep falling on my head. And just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops keep falling on my head, they keep falling. And I just give me some talking to the sun. And I say I don't like the way he's got things done. Sleeping on the job, those raindrops keep falling on my head, they keep falling. So, B.J. Thomas, long time ago, we sang that the other day, and EMT 623. So guys, I don't know if you tuned in last night to Dr. Joni Johnston. She was fantastic. I mean, how I got her as a guest in such a timely way. She is a forensic psychologist, an expert in serial killers, and again, I sort of also laid the groundwork for the future and said, Dr. Joni, would you come on again if I call you? She said, absolutely. So I got the hookup, and Dr. Joni is in our, Frank's going to copyright you. Dilly Pickles was a great show. Thank you so much. So as I said, this, and I'm doing a show tonight at 6 p.m. with Professor Michael Geary. And we're going to take a deeper dive into the evidence. Who is Rex Heuermann? How they solved this case. This case is very complicated. And it becomes more and more complicated because the bodies were found 13 years ago. And one of the things that you noticed by the press conferences that especially Rodney Harrison, the Suffolk County Police Commissioner, who's a former NYPD Chief of Detectives and Chief of Department, he right away pointed to the families of the victims and the victims themselves and wanted us all to remember the victims and the families of the victims who stood right behind the speakers at the press conference. And obviously this has been a long time, discovery of the victims. I'll read right from the report. On December 11th, 2010, police officer John Malia was conducting a training exercise with his canine partner, Blue, along Ocean Parkway in Gilgo Beach, Suffolk County, New York. During the course of the training exercise, Blue located a set of human remains. The remains were later identified to be those of Melissa Bartolome. 2 days later, on December 13th, 2010, the Suffolk County Police Department continued to search in proximity to where the remains of Melissa Bartolome were recovered. On that date, members of the Suffolk County Police Department found 3 additional sets of human remains within 1/4 mile of the first discovery. The 3 additional sets of remains were identified as those of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. The cause of death of all 4 women was determined to be homicidal violence. I've never seen that referred, that phrase defining how the cause of someone's death, homicidal violence. The word homicide means death caused by another. Now, death caused by another, a homicide can either be criminal or non-criminal. Evelien G., I'm Dutch, never heard of the LISK before. Evelien, the LISK stands for the Long Island Serial Killer. And I'm sort of building some of the foundation. Kim Alliston, Kim, I want to publicly thank you so much for all you do for the Police Off the Cuff podcast. Kim is a fantastic moderator, huge fan, huge subscriber, 24/7 pushes this show. She's fantastic. Kim, I want to thank you so much. Really appreciate all you do, as I do Dawn Marie, the Pranzos, Legal Minded Friends, Karen, all you guys that have been with the Police Off the Cuff podcast for a long time. Thumbs up. I really appreciate, again, everything that you do. So in talking with this case, yes, it's tremendously complicated because the victims or the remains were found 13 years ago. So ordinarily in any other era of crime fighting, the science was not up to snuff to solve a case like this. But what occurred over the years was that science advanced so quickly. And specifically, I'm talking about the science of DNA. And specifically, I know for a fact, it's in this report that genetic genealogy played a part in this case. And they refer to Lab 1 and Lab 2 as the labs that process the DNA. You all read about they were able to recover from 3 of the bodies a hair belonging to a female. When they first had that, of course, 13 years ago, but guess what? They used a science called mitochondrial DNA at that time. And they used I believe this was even further back than short tandem repeats is how they process a lot of DNA that goes into the CODIS database and gets checked against the CODIS database. Sheila, welcome to Polish My Rack. Sheila, thank you so much for becoming a Police Off the Cuff YouTube channel member. So much appreciated. And guys, you love the rain. What a setting, right, for this show. The rain, a rainy Sunday afternoon. So where was I? Oh, so the science. I think they also had something. Aunt BB2, thank you for the $50 super sticker. Supreme Commander, congrats on the 50,000. Long time coming, but so deserved. Now let's get to 100. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. You know, I try to remain as humble as I can about this, and it's to me it's a huge accomplishment. And I've been told I'm not a humble person by my detractors. Perhaps, Bill, you should be a little more humble. I try. I'm working on myself. I'm trying to be a little more humble. But thank you guys, all your support, and I really appreciate all of that. I'm laughing at myself because I've been accused of being not that humble. So, and mostly by my wife says that too. You need to be a little more humble. Well, thank you guys. Guys, yes, we're getting back to the DNA. There was also something in the beginnings when they started doing this DNA was polymerase chain reaction, PCR. And they used that, you may recall the PCR test for COVID. They used the same type of thing for COVID. So then it became short tandem repeats, which they could take a small amount of DNA and replicate it. But the STR, from what I understand, and again, I am no expert in DNA, but short tandem repeats only had about 20 markers. This is according to the great C.C. Moore, who is one of the, I guess, the bigger names in investigative genetic genealogy. And she says that now the new technique, and we spoke about this last night, is something called SNPs. And that stands for single nucleotide polymorphism, and a mouthful, big words beyond my beyond my pay grade here to say that phrase 2 times fast or 3 times fast. Single nucleotide polymorphism, and that technique is used. Kim Allison, Sergeant Bill, we love you and all your hard work. Certainly have a grateful heart. Thank you, Kim. And again, I spoke of you before on how much you mean to this channel and how much you do for us. Really appreciate this. So the SNPs technique has millions, over a million markers. So that is what you're hearing about, where they build these family trees through this technology, through investigative genetic genealogy. And it's really, truly amazing. You know, another thing, if you read this report, and I spoke about this 32-page bail application, and I'm going to read from it because, you know, I think it's good to enlighten everyone as what exactly the police and the district attorney's office there has in this case. In January 2022, the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office assigned an experienced team of investigators, analysts, and prosecutors to work jointly with law enforcement partners from the Suffolk County Police Department, the New York State Police, Suffolk County Sheriff's Office, and the FBI. A comprehensive review of every item of evidence and information in this investigation was undertaken by the team. I believe that was the idea of Rodney Harrison, the former NYPD Chief of Department and Chief of Detectives, who came out to Suffolk County and immediately started this task force. I believe he deserves Brad R., congratulations, Bill, on the 50K. Jimmy Calendar dragged me over here when you were... Thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate that, guys. All you folks acknowledging us and what we've done. Just incredible. So anyway, I think it was Rodney Harrison from the NYPD that really gave this case a kick in the ass, you know. And look, there's an old expression, success, and this is not the exact quote, but success has many friends. Failure is very lonely. And I'm sure it's a more explicit phrase than that, but it's so true, especially in police work. Success has many friends, and legal-minded friends, Karen Cole, when stable genetic markers known as single nucleotide polymorphisms. See, Karen, it went by so fast I was going to read your entire, if you could repost it, that would be great. So yes, this task force, I think, is directly and indirect. Moose Girl, oh wait, how could the wife not be sisters all these years? I don't understand that. Yes, Rex Heuermann was married, or is married, and has 2 adult children. You may ask, and I asked this of Dr. Joni Johnston last night, how his wife not suspect anything? How did he treat his wife? Pronounced SNPs were formed in the DNA of ancestral lines. Is great importance to genetic genealogists. Thank you, Karen. Basically what they do with SNPs, and I'm sorry I'm moving back and forth, but Karen just reposted what she posted before. The SNPs technique, or the investigative genetic genealogy, according to C.C. Moore, should never, ever be used as probable cause against a defendant. However, should be used as evidence that can build probable cause. So it should just be right out of C.C. Moore's mouth, should be used as an investigative lead, but not as probable cause. So we're aware of that. It's still, investigative genetic genealogy is still relatively in its infancy. It's a tremendous science that's, I'm surprised that no one yet has won like a Nobel Prize for this, because it's that important to mankind, to 21st century science. It also helps people identify loved ones. Helps adopted children find their parents. Helps you find your ancestry, your family tree. Although many people say they wouldn't want to do that, because it also opens up your privacy to being investigated potentially by law enforcement. And not all of these, like 23andMe and Ancestry.com, they don't allow law enforcement use of their databases for the purpose of investigations. So just so you guys know that, it's not all of these databases that allow this, it's just very few of them allow this data. So I was reading from the report, a comprehensive review of every item of evidence and information in this investigation was undertaken by the team. On March 14th, 2022, approximately 2 months into the renewed joint investigation, this comprehensive review led to the discovery of a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche that was registered defendant Rex Heuermann at the time of these murders. So this is going back. This is an amazing investigative find, right? And you may ask, oh, how hard is it? All they have to do, he's the defendant, he's the suspect, just run his Department of Motor Vehicle report, and it'll list every single vehicle he's owned his entire life. They can go back that far. So they discovered that at the time of these murders, he owned a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche, and it was registered to him. As described, this was significant because a witness to the disappearance of Amber Costello identified a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche as the vehicle believed to have been driven by the killer. Pretty amazing, right? That all of this stuff, but again, we have to realize this case didn't start in 2022. This case goes back to when the bodies were first discovered, and when I read that canine officer doing a training exercise on December 11th, 2010, discovered Melissa Barthelemy, her remains. So that's when this first started. So it's 13 years ago, guys. So when we think about what was left of the evidence. What evidence did they have that propelled this case forward? Think of how far, again, we spoke about this last night also with Dr. Joni, how far has science advanced in this time that they're able to do certain tests now and get back, the hairs that were left on the body, the 3 identified hairs, obviously they had them for 12 or 13 years and they remained unidentified because the mitochondrial DNA that identified hair at that time, the technology wasn't advanced enough to identify whose hair it was. They could tell, I believe, that it was female hair, but I don't believe they could identify whose hair. The other thing was a hair from Max Heuermann was found on one of the bodies also. In fact, I'll read some of the evidence that was recovered so you guys know. And I invite everyone, of course, to pull up and print that 32-page bail report that was issued by the Suffolk County DA's office. And also be reminded in this case, folks, that more than 300 subpoenas were issued by the district attorney's office. That's no small part. Now let's talk about even search warrants. And I'll ask you, if you're the investigator here, what needs a search warrant here? What locations do we search? Anyone gonna spit out the answers? This is like a class. I'm asking you. What needs to get a search warrant in this case, guys? No one's going to answer my question? All right, I'm going to answer the first one. Someone said probable cause. That's true. That's the level of suspicion. But what locations? His home, Dr. Pamela Chillette, you win the prize. His home, obviously. We spoke to Dr. Joni Johnston last night. We asked her, do you think that his home was where he killed some of these girls? And she shook her head in sort of a sad way and said, yeah, she thinks very probably, because one of the things that we know is that based on the burner phone information is that he called these victims and simultaneously they figured out that his wife was out of town at the time when he called these victims using these burner phones, right? Unbelievable. So he very possibly could have used his home as the place where he committed these murders, Guys, 300 in the chat, 131 with their thumbs up. Police off the cuff, real crime stories. Guys, thank you so much for all you do for us. We hit 50,000 subscribers. If you're not subscribed, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and ring that bell. We really appreciate you guys. We're growing, and it's because of you guys. And thank you so much. If you're a first timer, hit that subscribe button. Anna Pekoski, Shannon Gilbert's story was said. Well, Anna, we haven't even reached that yet. You're right. But we don't know if she is one of Rex Heuermann's victims. Kat D, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker for the Cup of Coffee Fund. Thank you so much. Coffee with Cannon, Backyard Beverage, Bitching with Bill, Singing in the Rain, whatever you want to call this podcast. We really appreciate it. And we're actually doing another live show at 6 p.m. tonight. I'm going to have Mike Geary on. We're going to talk about a little more about who Max Heuermann is, all the potential things that occurred in this case, and we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive. I'm going to do it inside, not outside, but Yeah, everyone talks about the size of Rex. I keep wanting to call him Max. He looks more like a Max than a Rex. The size of him, 6'4", 6'5". I would say he absolutely weighs over 300 pounds. I know what 300 pounds looks like because I had a lot of family members that destroyed destroyed the scale at that level as it spins around, you know. So it's Fremont Pathfinder. Hello, I haven't seen you in a while, Fremont Pathfinder. Welcome to the show. So, going over some of the evidence, his wife's DNA was found on 3 of the victims' bodies. And that DNA was from a hair fiber, which in 2010, the technology did not exist to identify that hair fiber. So this case obviously was ongoing. And the best thing that ever happened, again, was Rodney Harrison from the NYPD coming over, establishing a task force, and let's get serious. Let's get the best talent we can possibly get. Let's keep people that worked on this case. He even brought in a retired guy that had all kinds of knowledge, you know. Kiko, have they said where the burlap came from? Well, obviously, I don't know if they matched the burlap up to his home or if they found out where he got it from. What is matched up about the burlap is that on the burlap or on the bodies were, of course, three of them had his wife's hair fibers. One of them had his hair fibers. So that, of course, can match up. We talk about linkage, evidence linkage. Link the evidence to the perpetrator. And obviously, how did Rex Heuermann's wife's hair get on the bodies of the victims? Well, obviously, he transferred it to them. And how did he do that? You know, what I read earlier on, and it's actually in this report, it doesn't really give us a cause of death. It tells us that, well, I just want to read some. In addition, each of the 4 victims were found similarly positioned, bound in a similar fashion by either belts or tape, with 3 of the victims found wrapped in burlap type material. So when they say they were 3 of the victims were found wrapped in a burlap type material and they were found similarly positioned, that's something known in psychosexual murders as staging the victim's body position. And that is sometimes done to shock. Posing, yes, right on, Josephine, posed or staged, yes. And that is done many times by the perpetrator on purpose. I'm getting these mosquitoes flying around me. You know why I'm swatting the air. That is done many times. It's common within psychosexual serial killers. They do that to shock the person that finds these bodies. And cold posing. And it's a how did Dr. Joni, there's the paraphilia. She described it as that. Her words, in fact, I have some of her words yesterday. Psychopathy. That's a good word. Psychopathy. Sexual sadists have no empathy. And I believe Rex Heuermann was a sexual sadist, and we'll go over why we think that. The pain inflicted is what turns them on. Isn't that disgusting? That the pain inflicted turns this and types like Rex Heuermann, a psychosexual sadist, turns them on. They get off on this. They get sexually aroused by this behavior. And as further evidence to that, Rex Heuermann found on his computer sexually sadistic porn sites. Yeah, he's a sick dude. He's a real sick dude, right? You think there's going to be a lot of people chastising me now for saying that he's innocent till proven guilty, or not saying it enough? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if people are going to keep chastising me for that, but even a psycho sicko like this guy, yes, is innocent till proven guilty. Carmelita, good to see you. Always good to see you. Carmelita works so hard. Prayers for your brother who's sick, Carmelita. Thank you for stopping by. Frank Marsha, show last night will be a very interesting case for sure. Thank you so much. Yeah, I thought last night's show, and again, I don't want to pat myself on the back, I thought it was fantastic. And mostly because of Phil Grimaldi and, of course, Dr. Joni Johnston. Fantastic. She did I mean, I love having her on as a guest, not only because she looks like Ashley Judd. I started singing that song by the Judge, maybe your baby has got the blues. And when she first came on, before we went on there, she goes, what is that? I go, you don't know what that is? And she goes, no. I go, that's the Judds, who you look like, Ashley Judd. And she laughed. She has a good sense of humor, good sport, but also very, very smart, brilliant woman, in a area of study that is creepy, right? Sort of creepy. And she's this petite woman, tough. She goes into prisons and interviews serial killers. Could you imagine that? She looks like your next door neighbor. She looks like someone you'd play tennis with. She is like a mom, you know? And she had on her chair, behind her, Love Lives Here. I was like, oh, and I read it out loud. She got a little embarrassed by it. I was like, that's nice. You know, in her house, behind her, Love Lives Here. Yeah, so amazing. So who they've been referring to as the Gilgo 4 right now, that's right, guys. Phil Grimaldi was on Oxygen last night in a homicide case. Oxygen TV, it was on a show called New York Homicide, and Phil was one of the stars of the show, one of the investigators, and from a case that he actually worked while he was on the NYPD. So give up, thumbs up to Phil Grimaldi. He's getting his face out there, you know. I know he wants to be a big star one day. So thumbs up. Marie Falker, thank you for the $2.99 super sticker. Very much appreciated, guys. This is Police Off the Cuff, real crime stories, coffee with Cannon, backyard beverage, bitching with Bill, dancing in the rain, whatever you want to call it. We can call this show whatever we want. Feeling good over the last few days in covering this, just that the fact that this was a long time coming, guys. It was so long in coming, you know, and you know, just the fact that, you know, I said yesterday, and I still agree with this, that the police in this case really should have been the ones that, you know, spiked the football a little bit, just for one day. That their work, their fantastic work, resulted in this. And again, we got to share the credit with the Suffolk County DA's office, with the FBI, with the New York State Police, and with the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office. And then peripherally, it's spread out. Nassau County Police, Police Commissioner Patrick Ryder, who I've had on this show, it seems like they got the greatest family, the Patrick Ryder's family. Jim Cohn, retired NYPD inspector of aviation, charge of aviation, retired. He's living in Jupiter. I see him in Jupiter, Florida when I'm down there. Pilot, guys, retired lieutenant colonel from the Army. Their other cousin is Jack Cohn, who was the quarterback of Notre Dame, who is now, last time I heard, was in an NFL camp, trying to get on an NFL roster. So amazing family, and I know his son, Patrick Ryder's son, is a Nassau County cop. So great family. Thank you for your service. And I just wanted to mention that Nassau County peripherally was involved in this case, and they helped out Suffolk County, as did the NYPD. Let's not forget that Rex Heuermann's office was in Manhattan. They took him down. They locked him up in Manhattan by his office. The cell phones The Boost phones, they pinged in Manhattan, you know, and these are the phones that he used to call what we would refer to as the sex workers, the victims in this case. And it pinged back again. Deborah Galloway, thank you so much. I can't see what was given, but thank you so much for your super sticker. Very much appreciated. Bill, you should be in Florida now. It's 95 degrees here in Tampa. Feels like 106. But this is the time of year in Florida that the weather is off the charts. You know, you could get 10 and 15-minute tornadoes. Kiko, no, Gilgo Beach is not close to New Jersey, Kiko. Gilgo Beach is on Long Island. It's actually east of Jones Beach. It's in Suffolk County. So it's, when we talk about Massapequa, Massapequa is in Nassau County. So when we talk about it being in close proximity to Rex Heuermann's home, well, yes, we mean by close proximity 15 to 20 minutes away from his home. It's on off a parkway called Ocean Parkway, and very, very desolate at nighttime. It's like a 2-lane road each way, east, and 1 2-lane road west. There's times in the wintertime probably almost no cars travel that road, you know, or very sparsely traveled. So perfect place to dump a body? I guess so. He was never seen doing that, did he? So yeah, Gilgo Beach, Tobay Beach. I think it's the town of Babylon. I could be wrong. If anyone lives out there, correct me if I'm wrong. Lou, Bill, please consider 2 for Tuesday, a special edition of Gilgo Beach Murders of Duty Ron. That would be an unbelievable show. You know, Duty Ron is, he has helped me so much with my channel, and he deserves a lot of the credit. He's helped me so much. He's sent his audiences to me. He's coached me on how to navigate YouTube, which is not an easy thing to do. So I want to thank Duty Ron also. You know, Duty Ron also works a full-time job, so he can't always just plan his shows and be perfectly on target as to when he goes on the air. So look, I've been on Duty Ron's show a bunch of times in the past. In fact, the first time I was on his show and met Dr. Joni was on Duty Ron's show. So great, and Duty Ron, again, thank you so much. Okie Dokie 7, are there cameras there now on Gilgo Beach? I think it's probably, if there were cameras, there would be pole cameras. The beach is like the dunes. Where these bodies were found is in like the dunes. I don't think, unless there's poles there, that they put cameras at that location. That's a good thought though too, because what you learn about serial killers is that they like to go back to the scene of the crime, and not just immediately after, but years after. And they've spoken to serial killers in regards to this, and it's like they're reliving the thrill of the crime, and especially in these cases, their psychopathy. I'll get that word down sooner or later. Psychopathy. Don't forget that sexual sadist, which Rex Heuermann is, has no empathy. And one of the biggest examples of that is that he used the phones of 2 of the victims, their phones, to call their families and describe to their families that he had killed them and what he had done to them. Take that in. Think about that, you know. Think about how horrific that is, right? Yeah, Gilgo Beach has always been... Look, I grew up on Long Island. I used to go to Captree to go fishing as a kid. Jones Beach we would hitchhike to back in the day when I was a kid. Gilgo was where people would go surfing. That's where everyone would surf. They allowed surfing on Gilgo Beach. So all the surfers went to Gilgo Beach. Yes, a sick dude, right? So that's part of his psychopathy. you know. And according to Dr. Joni Johnston, the worst serial killers are the psychosexual sadists, the sadistic ones, because basically they have no conscience. And they like, yes, ATS News, taunting, yes, taunting. Marie Faulkner, he is evil, yeah. And again, I'll say it for all the tree huggers out there, he's innocent until proven guilty, right? But I think this is a week for everyone on Long Island and everyone that follows this case to be happy about this, you know, that they arrested this monster. And again, he's innocent until proven guilty. I think they have a lot of evidence, yeah. Moose Girl, you are funny, Bill. You know something? Copisms, you know, we use these copisms, and we have a different way of looking at the world than most people. Lieutenant Pete Pranzo could tell you that. Phil Grimaldi could tell you that. Professor Sergeant Mike Geary could tell you that. And Estelle Pretorius, hello, good to see you guys. So 411 in the chat, 243 thumbs up. Welcome to Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories on this rainy Sunday afternoon. As I said, guys, we're going live tonight at 6 p.m. Myself and Professor Mike Geary. If you're available to watch us tonight, we'll take a little bit of a different approach, a deeper dive perhaps. So as I was talking about the Gilgo 4, they're referring to is Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Bartolome, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. But right now, he's only been indicted for the murders of 3 of them. Melissa Bartolome, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. I believe they have enough evidence to have the 4th, but they're going to wait to make sure that they crossed their T's and they dotted their I's. So, sad case. There's human. These are human beings, you know. Human beings involved in this, and we talk about it like it's. We talk about it just like somewhat matter-of-factly, and I try not to, because I try to realize these girls all have families. They have people left behind who are still mourning this case. Hello, McLaughlin from Boston. Good to see you. Good to see you. But the name McLaughlin, and she got to be from Boston, right? So the rain is slowing down a little bit. Frank Marshall, work in a prison for a while, you will meet some very strange people for sure. Would that mean no DNA match to other victims? I don't think that the police right now are ready to talk about the other victims. I think they had a strong case. I think they had to take the case down. As we spoke about last night and discussed with Dr. Joni, the scary thing is that we still think, and Dr. Joni still thinks, he was active. And what we were very concerned with was, he's 59 years old, right? 59. So these murders are 13 years old, right? So he was 46 when he started doing this. And one of the concerns of Dr. Joni Johnston was, did he just start at the age of 46? I think not. She was worried about, what did he do in his earlier years? What did he do when he was younger? When did he start this behavior? He grew up in Massapequa. He bought the house. He never lived anywhere else but Massapequa Park, Long Island. Went to Berner High School. Bought the house that he grew up with from his parents. You saw that shack, right? I made a funny. Well, I think it was funny. Here's this guy, he's an architect, and his own home looks like shit. It looks like a rundown, the people in the neighborhood, before they knew he was the serial killer, complained about the way his house looked, that it was a dump, and Brooklyn Pizzola, you're right, he didn't just wake up at the age of 46 and become a serial killer. What did he do before that? How much more investigation is necessary to see, to delve into where was he? What did he do in his younger years? When did he start this psychosexual, sadistic, homicidal behavior? When did it start? We don't think it started when he was 46. Maisie T, they start with killing small animals. We spoke about that last night with Dr. Joni Johnston. She said that very well could have been his behavior as a young man. Did you watch the video where he talked about his special hammer? When he did that video with that French real estate guy? He spoke about his special hammer. That was freaky and scary all at the same time, Moose Girl, oh wait, he's not going to get anything pinned on him. They're going to have to connect these to him through evidence. If they can connect the other remains that's been recovered at Gilgo to him, they will absolutely do so. But they're not just going to pin it on him. First of all, if he gets convicted of these 3 murders, he's finished anyway, And I incorrectly said the other day, and I'll correct myself, New York State reversed the death penalty in 2014. It's no longer on the books. However, the federal government still has the death penalty. Could he be charged federally with this? I mean, doubtful, but could he be? Yes, the possibility exists. Didn't have time to fix house, too busy finding victims and doing terrible things. Yeah. Crazy, this case is crazy, but we can all thank the good Lord and the task force consisting of the Suffolk County Police, the FBI, the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office. Donna Shaw, thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. Jakey, thank you for the £5 super sticker. Very much appreciated, guys. The state police investigators, and of course the Suffolk County DA's office. Thank all of these entities for the hard work that they did, the missed holidays, the lost sleep they got over this case. Special thanks to all of them. Special thanks to Rodney Harrison, former NYPD. Woo, woo, woo. NYPD is in the house. Jennifer Bossett, how they link the burner phones to the victims' phones is pretty amazing. Jennifer, 100%. I think we take for granted sometimes the science of the investigation, which is completely amazing, And just think they're going back 13 years. Even cell phone technology has advanced tremendously over the years, right? Jeff B., thanks for the $5 super sticker. Bill for president. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Just amazing. So, guys, we have about a minute left. I want to thank you for coming out today. 430 people in the chat, 275 with the thumbs up. Rodney Harrison is a great leader, no doubt. Fantastic job. Dawn Marie, thank you, Dawn Marie. I gave you a special thanks before. I didn't see you in the chat. Dawn Marie is also one of our moderators, does an amazing job, and I really appreciate everything she does. The Pranzos, Kim Alliston, Dawn Marie, legal-minded friends, Karen, thank you so much. So guys, tonight, 6 p.m., I'm going to be on live with Professor and retired NYPD Sergeant Mike Geary, law degree. We're going to dig a little deeper in a different direction maybe in this case. And if you like police off-the-cuff real crime stories, join us tonight at 6 o'clock. It's a rainy Sunday, and we're going to dig into this case. Lou Lemoracco, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. Guys, I usually do 50 minutes. We're at 49, 48, 49, 50. Thank you so much for tuning in again tonight, 6 p.m. Join us, Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories. God bless everyone. Have a fantastic day.